Hello everyone. In this video I will discuss one of the films called Sakurada Reset, and never forget that I always pray for you and your family to be happy and healthy always. Set in a small town in Japan called Sakurada, at first glance nothing seems special about it. However, the reality is that most of the town's inhabitants possess unique abilities of their own. Some of them have mild abilities that assist them in their daily lives, while others have powerful abilities that can harm others. Yet there are also a few individuals who don't possess any powers at all. Strangely enough, these powers only apply within the confines of Sakurada. Once someone with a unique ability leaves the town, they immediately forget their power and live as normal humans. One of the residents of Sakurada is a high school student named Kei Asai. He possesses a rare ability to remember, hear, and perceive every detail of everything he has ever encountered, without forgetting even the smallest of details. In reality, Asai is not a native of Sakurada. He came to the town when he was still a child. One day, young Asai was returning home from school on a train when he was approached by a woman who handed him a telephone. From within the phone, he heard the voice of another woman claiming to be called Witch, who asked Asai to stop at Sakurada Station to fulfill his destiny. It was after entering the town that Kei Asai gained his powers. Currently, Asai has a special relationship with a girl named Misora Haruki, who is his classmate. Haruki possesses the ability to rewind or reset time up to a maximum of 3 days. Initially, Haruki used her reset ability to fix small things, such as when she encountered someone who seemed sad. However, for the past 2 years, Haruki has only been willing to use her power if she receives orders from Asai. This is because one day, during a time reset performed by Haruki, their close friend named Soma Sumire tragically died by drowning in a river. This incident was particularly strange considering that Soma was a member of the swimming club. Nevertheless, this event caused Haruki to feel immense guilt, especially since Soma was the one who introduced her to Asai. Meanwhile, due to the proliferation of unique abilities in the town, the local government took the initiative to establish a special organization called the Bureau of Administration. This bureau's task is to constantly monitor and record the powers possessed by each individual. This measure is implemented to control excessive activities and maintain balance within Sakurada. It is not uncommon for the Bureau of Administration to summon individuals with unique abilities to assist in solving problems. Returning to the present, on that morning of September 17th, Asai and Haruki, while on their way to school, suddenly came across their classmate named Minami, who had been involved in an accident and was on the verge of death. As Minami was a cheerful and kind student to everyone, Asai allowed Haruki to use her ability to reset time back to 2 days prior on September 15th. Once Haruki used her power, no one would remember what had just happened, except for Asai, who could remember everything. After the reset was performed, Asai proceeded to tell Haruki about Minami's impending death, which was scheduled to occur in 2 days. However, since Minami's fate couldn't be forcibly changed, Asai sought out their classmate named Tomoki, who possessed the ability to transmit voices to anyone in Sakurada through telepathy. Asai asked Tomoki to send a voice message to Minami on September 17th at a specific time and hour, urging her to stop cycling. In short, 2 days later, Tomoki fulfilled the request and ultimately successfully saved Minami from her destined date of death. Asai and Haruki, who met on the school balcony, felt relieved and happy because they had successfully helped Minami, even though Minami herself would never know what had actually happened. Afterward, Haruki immediately activated the recording on her phone to store the current time. Once Haruki completed this action, she would no longer be able to perform time resets beyond the recorded moment. Furthermore, Haruki's ability could only be used once within a 24-hour period. Therefore, in order to help others regularly, Asai and Haruki joined an organization called the Service Bureau, a special branch under the direct supervision of the Bureau of Administration. On the other side, there was a girl named Oka Eri, who possessed the ability to manipulate other people's minds. When someone looked into Eri's red right eye, they would instantly forget how to use their own abilities until Eri restored their memories. Although her power involved manipulating minds, Eri preferred to call herself a thief of other people's abilities. Eri used to be Asai's classmate, and they had a close relationship. In fact, Eri once considered Asai a hero because he helped her separate from her cruel father. However, after Soma's death, Eri believed that Asai had changed and intentionally abandoned her in her despair. This gradually fueled Eri's growing resentment towards Asai up to the present time. That day, Eri was suddenly approached by an employee from the Bureau of Administration who asked for her help in stealing the powers of individuals considered to pose a significant threat. Initially, Eri hesitated about the request, but after the Bureau employee manipulated her resentment towards Asai, she quickly agreed. Sometime later, Asai received a task from the Service Bureau manager to meet an elderly man named Sasano Hiroyuki, who claimed that his power had just been stolen by Eri. There, Sasano explained that he previously possessed the ability to make someone enter a photo for 10 minutes. For it to work, the photo he marked had to be torn in the same location where it was originally taken. This way, someone could enter the past and interact with anything within the photo for 10 minutes. After the conversation, Asai was surprised by a photo of a waterfall owned by Sasano, where, accidentally, Sasano had also captured a picture of the deceased Soma, who had passed away 2 years ago. After leaving Sasano's place, the manager of the Service Bureau suddenly informed Asai about the presence of a highly influential person from the Bureau of Administration, who wanted to meet with Asai and Haruki personally. This left Asai puzzled because he didn't actually know anyone important within the Bureau of Administration. Nevertheless, on the following day, September 18th, Asai still invited Haruki to go to a predetermined location. There they were greeted by a mysterious servant who refused to answer any of Asai's questions. Nonetheless, the servant politely led Asai and Haruki into a building with a complex entrance corridor, resembling a labyrinth. Upon reaching the middle of a room, Asai was allowed to enter first, while Haruki was asked to wait outside. Inside, Asai noticed several arranged bookshelves before meeting an old woman, whose voice alone made Asai instantly recognize her as the witch. The witch was a mysterious figure who once asked Asai to stop at Sakurada Station. It was later revealed that the witch had the ability to see the future, and due to this power, she had been trapped inside the building for the past 51 years because the Bureau of Administration didn't want someone with such a dangerous ability wandering among society. However, the Bureau couldn't let the witch go freely, as her ability was the most valuable asset for predicting the future of Sakurada City. The witch briefly touched Asai to see his future, and then revealed that within the next 10 days, she would meet her end. This puzzled Asai, but before he could inquire about the meaning of their meeting, a guard suddenly appeared, asking Asai to leave, as the meeting time had ended. Now it was Haruki's turn to have her future seen by the witch. However, their conversation veered towards the depth of Haruki's feelings for Asai. Haruki then expressed that even if Asai no longer had a physical body or even turned into stone, she would still love him. Meanwhile, outside the building, Asai was suddenly approached by Eri, who claimed to have come with the intention of stealing Haruki's powers. Unfortunately, before Asai could inform Haruki about this, he was unexpectedly captured by another girl named Yuka Murase, who had the ability to manipulate anything she touched. She could easily kill Asai with a single word and even use her power to resist the time leaps performed by Haruki's research. As a result, Asai couldn't do much when Eri stole Haruki's powers. Before leaving, Murase revealed that if Asai wanted Haruki's powers to be returned, he had to create a detailed map of the labyrinthine path leading to the witch's room. With Asai's ability, such a request was not impossible to fulfill. Afterward, Asai immediately took Haruki to the Service Bureau office and called upon an old friend named Sakagami, who had the ability to mimic and transfer powers from one person to another. Since Asai vividly remembered how Haruki used her powers, He hoped that with Sakagami's help, he could transfer that knowledge to Haruki. Unfortunately, after the process was done, it turned out that Haruki still couldn't remember how to use her powers. After escorting Haruki back home, Asai returned to the Service Bureau office to provide information to the manager about Eri, who had intentionally stolen Sasano's powers under direct orders from the Bureau of Administration. Asai also asked the manager about what he knew regarding Yuka Murase, because Murase's name was listed among the old members of the Service Bureau, and the manager should have been familiar with her. This is where it was revealed that the manager, named Tsushima, was a close friend of Murase's deceased older brother, who had died in a traffic accident. After the incident, Tsushima and several others infiltrated the headquarters of the Bureau of Administration to seek their assistance in saving Murase's brother, because Murase herself believed that she could revive her brother using her ability. However, their request was ignored by the Service Bureau, and no help ever arrived, leading to Murase's failure to save her brother. From this explanation, Asai quickly realized that it was highly likely that Murase, along with Eri, was currently planning to capture the witch in an attempt to dominate Sakurada and take control of the Bureau of Administration. Upon returning home, Asai immediately did his best to create the most accurate map of the witch's location, as requested by Murase. However, at that moment, Asai suddenly realized that if Murase wanted to capture the witch should have known about it beforehand, because she could see the future. Asai then connected all these events with the witch, who suddenly asked him to come with Haruki, and Sasano claiming to have lost his powers, and the unexpected appearances of Murase and Eri made Asai increasingly aware that most likely all these events had been planned by the witch, who was trying to escape from her confinement by seeking assistance from their powers. This was further reinforced by the arrangement of bookshelves in the witch's room, which turned out to be identical to the arrangement in Sasano's house. Therefore, the next day, Asai visited Sasano's house again to ask him to reveal the hidden secret. It was there that Sasano finally confessed that before the witch was detained by the Bureau of Administration, he had a special relationship with her that never ended, even until now. In reality, Sasano hadn't lost his powers because, when he looked into Eri's eyes, he had forgotten to wear his glasses, and his blurry vision prevented Eri's power from affecting him. He intentionally asked Asai to come because he had received a message through an old photo of the witch, revealing that Asai would be able to help them reunite. However, Sasano admitted that he wasn't specifically told how to achieve it. After the conversation, Sasano handed 3 photos to Asai. One photo showed the young witch at the beach, another photo had the background of Soma waterfall, and the third photo was taken on a bridge. Based on this, Asai then asked Haruki to go to the beach where the photo of the young witch was taken. Together, they tore the photo to meet the witch from the past directly. After seeing Asai's future, the young witch immediately became aware of what was happening. She revealed that she had intentionally manipulated Eri and Murase to rebel against the Bureau of Administration. By doing so, they would assist her in escaping from her confinement in the future, even though fundamentally, fighting against the Bureau of Administration was a terrible idea. After setting the next meeting time on September 19th at 2018, Asai and Haruki went to meet Murase to deliver the pictures Asai had created. However, at that moment, Eri refused to return Haruki's powers because it was still within the 2-day period after Haruki's last research. They made a promise to return the powers in a few days, so that Haruki couldn't perform any research to alter the events in the past 3 days. During the meeting, Murase also offered Asai and Haruki to join their group in order to take over and rebuild the ineffective system of the Bureau of Administration. However, Asai stated that he needed time to consider the offer. After the meeting, Asai immediately gathered Haruki, Sasano, Tomoki, and Sakagami in the Service Bureau room to explain his strategy for helping the witch escape from her confinement. At precisely 21:18, while Murase and Eri were manipulating the guards to reach the witch's room, Sasano secretly followed behind them, taking photographs of every door they passed through. He then handed all the photos to Asai. Until there was only one door left, Asai immediately stopped Murase and explained that the Bureau of Administration couldn't be defeated just by doing things this way. Murase briefly extended her hand and threatened to kill Asai if he didn't stop, but it didn't make Asai back down. Instead, he asked Tomoki to record the sound while giving Haruki the command to conduct the reset. This was laughed off by Eri because she hadn't returned Haruki's powers yet. However, right after Asai asked Murase to persuade Eri to return Haruki's powers, he deliberately touched Murase's hand, causing Asai to be instantly killed. This incident made Murase scream hysterically because she never intended to harm Asai. However, since it had already happened, Murase had no other choice but to order Eri to immediately return Haruki's powers. Before the time leap research was conducted, Sasano had handed over all the previously taken Polaroid photos to Murase. This way, Murase wouldn't be affected by the time leap and wouldn't forget all the events that had occurred on that day. In short, Tomoki then played the previous recording of Asai's voice to command Haruki to perform a time leap to September 17th. Time rewound to the moment right after Haruki had stored her time, and just like before, Asai recounted what had happened in the past 2 days. He explained everything, from their meeting with the witch to the loss of Haruki's powers, stolen by Eri. During their conversation, Haruki asked Asai if their relationship would change if she truly lost her powers. Asai replied that he would be willing to risk his life to restore Haruki's powers if that were to happen. After that, Asai went through all the activities exactly as he had done in the next 2 days. When he and Haruki went to meet the witch, they encountered Murase in front of the building, who then handed over all the Polaroid photos to Asai. Murase admitted her surrender and regret for what she had done. However, Asai quickly calmed her down and invited Murase to work together to face any future problems. After the meeting, Asai entered the building and secretly slipped the Polaroid photos into the witch's pocket without the guard's knowledge. So the witch then used the photo to get out of her detention building. The following night, Asai met with Sasano and the witch, who were planning to leave the city and relinquish their powers so they could spend the rest of their lives peacefully. The witch revealed that there was actually one more person who had the ability to see the future, and Asai had already met that person. The next day, Asai asked Haruki to perform store time because he had another plan to try and bring Soma back from the past. If his hypothesis was correct, there was a high possibility that Soma could exist indefinitely in the real world. After the time leap was completed, Asai took Haruki to a waterfall that had the exact same location as the photo given by Sasano. Asai also called Sakagami and Murase to assist him. Their plan involved tearing Sasano's photo simultaneously to meet Soma in the past. After that, Murase would use her ability to remain unaffected by Haruki's time leap reset. Meanwhile, Sakagami would mimic Murase's power and transfer it to Soma, increasing the likelihood of bringing Soma from the past to the present to live in the real world. Surprisingly, this plan succeeded exactly as Asai had predicted. After time returned to the last time leap on September 20th, Asai met Soma at a lighthouse, and strangely, Soma showed no surprise at what had transpired. It was revealed that Soma was actually the owner of another power, the ability to see the future as mentioned by the witch. What was even more surprising was that everything that had happened in the past 2 years, including Soma's own death, was a deliberate act to save Asai. However, Soma refused to divulge further details about what had occurred, and instead warned Asai to prepare, because something bad was about to happen. And that's it for the story series of this film. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to support this channel by subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video. Goodbye.